Energy and Civilization, A History by Vaclav. This is a book summary. Imagine a world frozen in time, a world where night means absolute darkness, a world where humans, fragile and defenseless, roam the land, scavenging for food, shivering against the cold, hiding from predators they cannot outrun. No cities, no industry, no technology, no internet, nothing. It's hard to picture, right? But this wasn't some dystopian nightmare. This was reality for early humans. They were just another species, at the mercy of the elements, until they discovered power. Power in the form of energy, the ability to harness and control the forces of nature. And everything, our civilizations, our inventions, our way of life, came from that one defining pursuit. Because if you really think about it, the story of humanity is the story of energy. It has taken us from primitive survival to unimaginable progress. But here's the twist. Our relentless hunger for energy has also led us to the brink of destruction. Fossil fuels, nuclear power, climate change. Our civilization is now trapped in a paradox. The same force that built our world might just be the one to tear it down. So, how did we get here? Welcome to Energy and Civilization, a history, a mind-blowing journey through time, exploring the energy revolutions that shape the world as we know it, and the choices we must make to save it. Chapter 1: The First Energy Revolution. Fire. Once upon a time, humans were powerless. They huddled in the dark, vulnerable to the elements, unable to fight back against the wild world around them. Their only defense? Their wits. They learned to forage, to scavenge, to carve sharp edges into stone. But still they were weak, just another link in the food chain. And then they stole fire from nature. This wasn't just a discovery, it was a revolution. For the first time, humans weren't just adapting to their environment, they were changing it. Fire was more than warmth in the cold. It was a tool. It cooked food, making it easier to digest and unlocking more nutrients. Over time, this small change had a massive impact. It supercharged our brains, allowing humans to think faster, remember more, and innovate like never before. It was also a weapon, a force of control. Fire kept predators away, allowing humans to settle in places they never could have survived before. With fire, we could reshape landscapes, burning forests to clear land, forcing animals to new grazing grounds, and later, fueling the rise of permanent settlements. But here's the crazy part. Fire didn't just shape our biology. It shaped our destiny. For thousands of years, humans lived as foragers, constantly moving, following the seasons. But with fire, something new became possible, something that changed the course of history. Farming. It was the next great energy revolution. Instead of wandering in search of food, humans learned how to control it. They tamed plants, domesticated animals, and for the first time, stored energy for the future. With farms came villages. With villages came cities. With cities came civilization. And with civilization, a hunger for even more power. Fire had given us control. But the real question was, what would we do with it? Chapter 2: From Muscle to Machines. The Rise of Empires. For thousands of years, the only power source humans had was themselves. They tilled fields with their own hands, carried water in clay pots, hauled stones for building, back-breaking, endless labor. Progress was slow, cities were small, and expansion? It was limited by the sheer amount of physical effort required to survive. But then, we made a groundbreaking discovery. We didn't have to do it all ourselves. We tamed animals. Horses, oxen, donkeys, camels. They became living engines, vastly multiplying human strength. With a plow strapped to an ox, a single farmer could till 10 times more land than he could alone. A horse-drawn chariot could cover distances in hours that once took days. Camels carried goods across scorching deserts, turning once isolated regions into thriving trade networks. This was the first mechanical revolution, and it changed everything. But we weren't done. With ingenuity, humans harnessed nature itself. The power of wind and water, forces that had shaped the earth for millions of years, were now tamed for our use. In Mesopotamia, farmers used irrigation systems powered by simple water lifts to grow crops in the dry desert. The Chinese built giant water wheels that ground grain into flour, freeing people from hours of exhausting work. In Rome, a sprawling network of aqueducts used gravity to transport fresh water to cities, supplying fountains, public baths, and even flushing toilets. These weren't just conveniences, they were revolutions in energy use. Water wheels and windmills became the first true machines, allowing civilizations to expand beyond what human muscles alone could achieve. Cities grew larger than ever before. Roads, temples, and palaces rose from the ground. Empires stretched across continents. Armies grew in size and power, fueled by the ability to transport food, weapons, and knowledge faster than ever. The Roman Empire, the Egyptian dynasties, the Chinese Han dynasty, they were not just political giants, they were energy giants, thriving on the ability to control and direct power in new ways. But power, once unleashed, always creates hunger for more. For centuries, these energy sources allowed humans to dominate the world, but they were still limited by the speed of a horse, the flow of a river, the blowing of the wind. And then a discovery came along that would erase those limits forever. The game changer was coming. Chapter 3. The industrial boom, fossil fuels. For thousands of years, our power came from what we could see. The muscles of men and beasts, the pull of rivers, the breath of the wind. But beneath our feet, hidden in the ground for millions of years, was a force unlike anything humanity had ever known. Coal. This wasn't just another fuel. This was buried energy from ancient worlds, compressed into dense black rock. When burned, it released more power than wood, more heat than the sun could provide in a single day. And with it, we shattered the limits of human progress. Steam engines roared to life. Factories sprang up, churning out goods faster than ever. Cities exploded in size, swallowing countryside in their wake. The world wasn't just changing, it was accelerating. With coal, we weren't bound by rivers to power machines. With steam, we weren't limited by the speed of a horse. For the first time, humanity had a power source that never got tired, never slowed down, never stopped. And then, we found something even more powerful. If coal was the match that ignited the Industrial Revolution, then oil and electricity were the explosion that followed. In the 20th century, we didn't just change the world, we built a new one. Cars replaced horse-drawn carriages, making distance meaningless. Airplanes soared across continents in hours instead of weeks. Light bulbs lit up the night, turning darkness into opportunity. Telephones connected people across oceans, collapsing the world into a single conversation. Fossil fuels became the new gods of civilization. For the first time in history, energy seemed limitless. But there was one problem. The energy we unleashed wasn't just shaping our world, it was shaping our future. Every factory, every car, every plane, all of them pumped invisible gases into the air. At first, no one noticed. It was progress. It was prosperity. But then, the earth started to change. The very thing that gave us power was now threatening to take it all away. What happens when a civilization becomes addicted to energy? Chapter 4. The price of power. The dark side of energy. Power comes at a price. For centuries, energy was our greatest triumph. It lifted us out of darkness, built empires, and fueled unimaginable progress. But what we failed to realize was that energy isn't just about what we create, it's about what we destroy along the way. The more we harnessed, the bigger our cities grew, until their skies turned gray with smog, their rivers choked with waste. The more we built, the more our factories polluted, spewing toxins into the air, poisoning the land beneath our feet. And the more we fought over energy, the deadlier our wars became. Not just for soldiers, but for entire generations. Think about it. World War II, fueled by oil, tanks, planes, and warships ran on petroleum, leading to battles fought as much over fuel supply lines as over strategic territory. The Cold War, A nuclear arms race, powered by uranium where entire nations lived under the shadow of annihilation, one button away from destruction. Climate change today, a slow-motion catastrophe, driven by our endless hunger for fossil fuels, pumping greenhouse gases into the air like there's no tomorrow. And now, we're standing at the tipping point. We've created a civilization that runs on energy, but the way we're using it is risking everything we've built. Look around. The signs are everywhere. Glaciers are melting, oceans are rising, storms are intensifying, and yet our hunger for energy only grows stronger. Every second, our world burns through over 1,000 barrels of oil. Every day, we release more carbon into the atmosphere than the Earth can naturally absorb. Every year, the planet gets hotter. And it's not just about the environment. Energy shapes power, and power shapes conflict. Wars are no longer just about land or ideology. They are about who controls the energy. From the oil-rich deserts of the Middle East to the lithium mines of South America, nations fight not just for resources, but for the future itself. For the first time in history, our energy addiction isn't just shaping civilization. It's threatening to collapse it. So what happens next? Do we keep burning through our resources until we have nothing left? Or do we finally step back and change course? Because here's the truth. Civilizations don't fall from war, famine, or disease alone. They fall when they run out of energy. Chapter 5. Can we escape the energy trap? Here's the big question. Can we keep civilization going without destroying it? For the first time since the Industrial Revolution, we stand at a crossroads. On one side, the old world, the one built on coal, oil, and gas, a system that's brought prosperity, but at an unsustainable cost. On the other, a new world, one powered by the sun, the wind, and the forces of nature itself. Renewable energy offers hope, but hope alone isn't enough. Switching off fossil fuels sounds easy, until you realize that our entire way of life depends on them. The food we eat, fertilized with petroleum-based chemicals. The homes we live in, built with oil-based materials and transported by diesel trucks. The cars, planes, and ships that connect the world, still overwhelmingly powered by fossil fuels. So, what do? We innovate. We build better energy storage systems. We rethink how we power our economies, our cities, and our daily lives. And most importantly, we change the way we think about energy. Because this isn't just about new technologies. It's about a new mindset. For centuries, we saw energy as something to burn. Now, we must see it as something to sustain. The future of energy isn't just about efficiency. It's about survival. The story of energy is the story of us. It took us from the Stone Age to space travel. It built cities, created empires, and connected the world. But now, it's up to us to decide what happens next. Do we double down on old ways and risk the consequences? Or do we rise to the challenge and build something better? The truth is, the future isn't written yet. We are still in control. So, what do you think? Can we build a future powered by clean energy? Or are we doomed to burn through every last drop of fossil fuel until we crash? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going. And if you love this deep dive into the history and future of energy, smash that like button and subscribe for more mind-blowing stories that shape our world. Until next time, stay powered up.